Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to a very exciting episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with Jay Dash and Big Easy. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 18-16 in Wild Card Weekend. The Bengals pretty much blew it.
Yeah, it was a joke.
They are a joke. Their organization's a joke. Marvin Lewis is a joke. Vontaze Burfict is a joke. Pac-Man Jones is a joke. They're all a bunch of freaking jokes.
The way this game started out, though, it was really ugly. I mean, it was pouring down rain, obviously.
A.J. McCarron said it only rained when the Bengals had the ball.
Oh, yeah? Well, it looked a little different than that when I was watching the game because it was pouring on when the Steelers were on offense as well. But in the first half, there was nothing going. On the first 4 drives for each team, it ended in punts. And, I mean, really, there was nothing going. The biggest thing that happened in the first half, I mean, Wheaton had that fumble. Burfict forced that. McCarron threw a pick right after that, and Antoine Blake took it back to Cincy's 41. The Steelers got a field goal out of that. But the biggest thing was really the Mike Munchak and Adam Jones altercation.
What about the tandem of Todman and Croissant, as Easy likes to call them?
Yeah, I mean, they were running the ball pretty well out there. They both looked like they had a little bit more speed than I thought. But it really didn't amount to nothing in the first half. It was just 6-0. You look, in the entire first half, Cincinnati had 4 punts to open the game, like I said. They threw that interception, which led to 3 points for the Steelers, and they had another 3-and-out. They had 4 3-and-outs in that first half. And then for the Steelers, that, like I said, 4 punts to open the game, 2 of those being a 3-and-out. They had the fumble by Wheaton, and then back-to-back field goals to end the half to give them a small lead going into halftime.
Yeah, this is the first time the Steelers have shut somebody out in the first half of a playoff game since 1979, and the Bengals actually only got 2 first downs and 56 total yards, I believe, in the first half, which is pretty embarrassing, even with your backup quarterback.
Yeah, A.J. McCarron looked bad. They had no run game for Cincinnati. The Steelers, they did have a run game, a little bit surprising to me, but Big Ben really wasn't on his game in the first half. You remember he overthrew a hitch pass there early in the game, and then he almost threw a pick there right before halftime as well, which really could have hurt them in the end.
The game was too close for comfort.
Yeah, in the second half, it pretty much just got crazy, really. And it started with it started when Ryan Shazier hit Giovanni Bernard. He fumbled. The Steelers actually picked it up and ran for a touchdown, if you remember, but they blew the whistle, and it should have been penalized. I believe that hit should have been penalized. It wasn't penalized, though. And you know what? If you go back and say that one play cost us the game, I think that's a little bit of a joke, too. There's bad calls in every single game. One call doesn't decide a game. You had the game in hand at the very end.
Yeah, if you don't
all
get
you had to
30
do was hold
yards
on to
and
the
penalties.
ball. Well, listen, Jeremy Hill, all he had to do was hold on to the ball, or all they had to do was knee the ball in the end.
Ryan Shazier's beast. He just rips it out. He don't care.
Yeah, that was his second forced fumble. He was the one that forced that fumble on Giovanni Bernard. Bernard got hurt on that play, too, and I don't like what Ryan Shazier did after that either. He was like dancing on the sidelines or whatever.
Yeah,
but that was only after.
Now.
Listen, Ryan Shazier hit Giovanni Bernard. That wasn't on purpose. There's no way he did that on purpose. But look, Jeremy Hill and Vontaze Burfict both came out on the field and were trying to egg on the Steelers. Now, what happened when Antonio Brown got hit by Burfict? Was there any Steelers out on the field trying to egg anybody on? They're saying Joey Porter, but he was out on the field because there was an injury. He's allowed on the field. I didn't see him. He might have been saying MF or this, MF or that or whatever, but that's football. You talk crap in football.
Assistant coaches are not allowed on the field at that point, but the ref did allow him out on the field because everybody was so concerned for Antonio Brown at that point because it looked so bad. And what about Pac-Man Jones saying Brown faked it and saying he winked at him when he was coming off the field? First, he said he deserved an Academy Award, and then he said he deserves a Grammy. Does he know the Grammys go to the musicians? Was Antonio Brown playing the guitar when he got hit? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Pac-Man
ridiculous,
is garbage.
Man. That's the stupidest statement I ever seen. Did you see Antonio Brown's eyes when he got hit on that play? They were in the back of his head. Easy said it during the game. There's no way he acted that out as that happened. And let me guess, he knew it was Burfict that hit him in the head as well. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's seen Burfict was the one that hit him in the head in a split second like that. That's just garbage.
What you really haven't mentioned yet is why our defense gave the game away in the second half.
Well, listen, I'm still not mad at the defense. What the defense did in the first half was pretty much unbelievable.
Well, why couldn't they do it in the second half?
Well, they held them scoreless through, 3 quarters?
Yeah, it wasn't until Cincinnati's 10th drive of the game. And really, all that was easy was a 42-yard pass interference called on Will Allen. You remember that? A couple of us disagreed whether or not that was pass interference or not. I'll say it was pass interference. Why not? And then they ended with a 1-yard touchdown after that. But that was just a 46-yard drive. So it was just one pass interference on that drive. And they got a field goal on the following drive, which they put together a pretty good drive. McCarron came back and played pretty well in this game late in the game. But
he was serviceable, and he should have had. They obviously should have won that game, but
played better than Landry Jones.
Yeah,
and let's not forget
AJ McCarron.
Go ahead.
AJ McCarron impressed me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, he looked like garbage in the first half, but he came back and played pretty well in the second half.
He won the game. He won the game for the Bengals.
Yeah, if it really wasn't for him, they would have really had no chance, in my opinion. I mean, Jeremy Hill, he had 50 yards in this game, but he had a 38-yard run early in the second half there. That was pretty much his game. He did get the 1-yard touchdown, but that was after that pass interference call. And really, the offensive coordinator, who's the offensive coordinator in Cincinnati?
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson. I don't think he coached a good game out there.
Huge Jackson.
Huge accident. Listen, I think he needed to get the ball to A.J. Green a little bit more.
He's up for head coaching duties around the league.
They got him a touch.
They did get him a touch, yeah. It was a 25-yard touchdown.
Maybe that beast defense of yours was shutting him down.
Yeah,
usually
they
A.J.
did a
Green,
good job, man.
Usually A.J. Green runs wild on the Steelers.
Yeah, and Tyler Eifert, he had a pretty decent game as well out there. I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about him as well. But Cincinnati, the way their fans acted when Big Ben went down.
Oh, it was a disgrace.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. They were cheering the injury. Listen, I went to the game way back in the day when Carson Palmer got hurt. And Cincinnati fans started hating on us when Carson Palmer got hurt and said we should never even smile or anything. They were throwing stuff at us back in the day. And now look at what they do. Our quarterback goes down and they cheer from one end of the stadium to the other. They're throwing bottles at him. At that point, I pretty much felt that the way the game ended, karma just worked out.
Yeah, honestly. Burfict couldn't keep his temper. Jones couldn't keep his temper. Lewis couldn't control his team. I understand that Marvin Lewis wasn't the one out there doing those things, and I understand that he might not even be the reason that both of those guys are on the team. You know what I mean? Front office could have went above them and just said, too bad. We're signing them and you play them. You don't really have much of a choice. So they're out on the field, but when that all goes down, he needs to get all those players off. Everybody is letting him off the hook. I don't think he's completely off the hook here. He is the head coach, and whether or not you take part in the activities, you are held accountable because it's your job to control everybody. He hasn't done a good job of that. He's 0-7 in the playoffs for Cincinnati. I have been reading that he's not going to lose his job, and I don't know if he should lose his job over this one, but I wouldn't give him too many more chances.
Well, listen, I kind of felt bad for him there at the end of the game. I mean, his players went out there and blew it for sure. And I'm talking about Burfict and Adam Jones. I mean, if it wasn't for them, there was still a pretty good shot the Steelers were not going to win that game. But in the end, in his press conference, all he did was blame the refs. So that's just bullcrap to me. So I didn't feel bad for him after I heard that.
What about the surprise of, we talked about it already, Taubman and Toussaint running for 123 yards. Anybody see that coming? Because I sure didn't.
No, I didn't. But I told you, I mean, I've been saying it all year long. I like Taubman when he gets his opportunity, if he gets enough touches in a game. But they both came out running very well. The reason Fitzgerald Toussaint starts over Taubman is because he's a better pass blocker. So they both did a great job out there. And it really, if it wasn't for them, this game would have definitely turned in Cincinnati's favor, or they could have found another way to blow it in the end as well.
Well, I heard people in the talk shows talking about why not us, have a third string, fourth string running back guy, come in and make an impact, where you see other teams do that, a lot with, Thomas Rawls, for example, this year,
right.
He went off and did it
Christian
big.
Michael, they cut him, brought him back, and he got 100 yards.
Yeah, that was really nice to see Buttery Croissant and Taubman do that. I mean, do their work. do their job.
We're going to need it in Denver next week, too, because Big Ben's hurting.
Yeah, there's Rocky Mountain High.
You know what? Those running backs did a great job, but you also got to give some credit to this offensive line. I mean, over the second half of this season, this offensive line has been nothing less than excellent. I mean, they've been keeping players off of Ben Roethlisberger the second part of the season.
Except for Perfect.
Well, no, that was not their fault at all. That was Big Ben's fault.
I know, we said
completely. He needed to step up in the pocket there. That's all. Now, that play by Perfect, it wasn't a bad play by any means. He went and just made the tackle. There was nothing wrong with that play.
Did you see the video afterwards?
What video?
The video swirling around on the internet. He pretty much clearly knees Roethlisberger right in the shoulder at the end of the play before he stands up.
Well, I mean, he did get up a little bit hard, but I mean, that's what defensive players do. I don't think Big Ben thought anything wrong about that either. I didn't hear him come out and say anything bad about that. Now, we've seen him come out and say, Perfect went for my legs earlier this season, remember?
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Perfect hurt Le'Veon Bell. Now he hurt Antonio Brown, and he hurt Big Ben. I think he hurt Big Ben twice maybe now.
Yeah.
So he hurts a lot of people, obviously, but I don't think that was a bad play by any means. But the way he got up and ran down the sidelines, he was definitely happy he hurt Big Ben. And the crowd bit into it and started to go along with him as well, and they were loving it.
Was the hit on Brown legal?
Hit on Brown legal? No, not even the Ryan Shazier hit was a legal hit, obviously. The hit on Brown was a joke. They're saying he didn't mean to do it. Deion Sanders came out and said he didn't mean to do it. Even James Harrison came out and said he didn't think he meant to do it.
Well,
I'm calling bullcrap on all that.
James Harrison said that's really not... James Harrison said that's not a penalty in his opinion.
Exactly, it's not a penalty.
He just doesn't agree with it being a penalty according to NFL rules, not necessarily.
But that dude has to walk a fine line because he's smoked heads in the past. So what is he supposed to say? Well, he can't say yeah, that was the blatant hit, blah 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 blah, and then everyone will just say, all right, hypocrite. Because he's done things like that.
Well, but he's been fined for it, and he's fixed his game. James Harrison has changed his game completely from back in the day. He was hitting people in the head constantly back in the day. He hasn't done that. I know he doesn't play every down now, but he's definitely changed his game. And wouldn't you think it'd be better for him to come out and say, yeah, that was an illegal hit. I used to do that kind of stuff. I changed my game. Perfect. You need to change your game as well.
that's what he should have said.
Did you guys see the video of not this game, the game Cincinnati versus the Ravens, and Perfect, they were in the red zone, and Max Williams come across the goal line, and he just laid him out with a freaking helmet-to-face hit, and the ball wasn't thrown to Williams or anything. I mean, Perfect just stepped up and laid him out. He plays hard, and he plays dirty, I guess, but I mean, even in college, there were questions about that guy's character. That's why he came out of the supplemental draft. I don't even think he went in the regular draft. I could be wrong there. But he's always had that staple or label on him. Should the Bengals bring him and Pac-Man back? I mean, Perfect is signed for a couple more years. Pac-Man is a free agent.
Yeah, I would say they're not going to bring Adam Jones back. I have a good feeling about that because even after that Perfect hit, it would have been a 50-yard field goal at that point. But Adam Jones is an idiot. Yeah, maybe Joey Porter shouldn't have been in the middle of all those Bengals, but
there were like 13 Bengals coaches. I seen a picture today on social media too. They were complaining about Porter being in the middle of the field, out on the sideline. Somebody had them all circled in green circles. There were so many green circles, it was ridiculous. So Cincinnati's coaches were out there too.
How dumb can you be to even throw? It wasn't really a punch. He just kind of half swung.
Oh, what was Perfect doing touching Brown when they were walking Brown off of the thing? What was that all about? Because that's what really sparked it. Perfect come over and try to put his hand on Antonio Brown, and that one trainer or whoever that was smacked his hand away from him. Like, what was that all?
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So what that kind of sparked it right off the bat. There's no way Perfect's coming over to say I'm sorry. He blatantly tried to smoke his Brown's head off.
Yeah.
So don't touch Brown. And at that point, they knew everyone was frustrated. The training staff, Porter, they were all frustrated, and it was BS. It was completely BS.
Should Perfect be suspended?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, 4 games at least.
I mean, he's a repeat offender.
It's got to be 4 games. Well, then he'll appeal it and get 1.
Yeah, according to Roger Goodell, loser.
Yeah, but after he put that hit on Big Ben, it was still, what, 15-0 at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they came right back. That right after that was that 42-yard pass interference. They came back, made it 15-7 at that point. The Steelers had Landry Jones in, so they got nothing going at that point, obviously. They punted on their first drive with Landry Jones in a quarterback.
Easy, did you know Landry Jones throws an interception every 10 passes? I mean, not literally, but like on average, if you look at his numbers.
That's fine. I mean,
That's fine. It's not fine.
it's fine. He shouldn't even be on the field, so I don't care what he does anyway.
It's good.
Sick of it.
There's a lot of talk on social media for the Steelers to just part ways with him. What do you think, Dash?
I mean, I hate him. I think he's a terrible quarterback, obviously. We've been saying it all year long. I mean, it's hard to find a good backup quarterback, but I like someone like a Charlie Batch, someone that has a lot of experience, even if they're older and their game's declining a little bit. I'd rather have a guy like that because when this situation arises, at least you have someone that's had experience in the NFL. This guy has very little experience, and I know he has more now, but my God, he's not getting any better, it seems like.
Well, my next question was, would you draft a guy or go with a veteran? But I think you answered that already.
Well, I mean, if you're looking for Big Ben's replacement here eventually, because Big Ben, man, I mean, he's been going down left and right. If you don't think he's going to last these 5 years or whatever he's under contract for, then I maybe just draft one high and start grooming him to be Big Ben's replacement eventually. I have no problem with that as well. If they think their guy's there, because let's not forget, Big Ben was drafted 11th overall. It's not like he was one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft. If they can find a guy in the middle of the first round, late in the first round, that they think's their future quarterback, go ahead and grab him, man. But it really comes down to the Steelers were up 15-10, and then they had that 3-and-out. And when they punted, Adam Jones had that big return, took it to, Pittsburgh's 45-yard line or something like that. And then they drove down the field and scored on that A.J. Green 25-yard touchdown, go up 16-15, and Landry Jones comes right back out. Now, at that point, we were hoping Big Ben came back out. Remember that he was on the sidelines, had his helmet on. We were saying Big Ben's going to come back and lead us to victory. They let Landry Jones go out there, and that looked, throw pick on the very first play of the drive. Vontaze Burfict made that pick. Another big play by Burfict. If he could just keep his head on straight, this guy is a monster. But that should have been the game right there. So why was Big Ben able to come out on the next drive to drive down and win that game for him? Why couldn't he just come out in that drive instead of Landry Jones? What happened from that drive to the next? Because it was like a minute difference, you know what I mean?
The shot kicked in.
Do you really want to know? Because they talked about it. Big Ben and Mike Tomlin both talked about it.
Yeah,
Tomlin just walked over after Landry Jones threw the pick and just looked over at Ben and said, "What do you think? Can you go?" And Ben said, "I'll give you everything that I got." And Ben asked Todd Haley.
I think they should have done that the prior drive, though, before Landry threw that pick, because it was over at that point. I mean, against any other team in the world, in any other situation, this game's over once he throws that pick.
Yeah.
Well, they
yeah, that's a good question. Why didn't he just come back out? Because he's beat, dude. That's why.
I mean, his shoulder's beat up.
He's beat.
A Ben Roethlisberger that cannot throw over 10 yards is better than a Landry Jones that's fully healthy.
Did you see it? We seen it. We seen it.
We seen it.
I was talking to Brandon, our athletic trainer, and most likely it's an AC joint sprain for Roethlisberger. I mean, that's what I've been hearing right now. There's a couple different grades. Mostly you'll see 1, 2, or 3. Brandon says if it's a grade 1, he's definitely going to play. He's just going to be sore. But if it's a grade 2, it's going to affect his shoulder, especially trying to throw downfield. But he also said the AC joint is one of the only things that you can inject safely prior to a game, and the lidocaine is usually successful at controlling that pain. So as long as we're not going to see a report of anything above a grade 2 AC joint sprain, you're definitely going to, well, I shouldn't say definitely, most likely going to see Roethlisberger out there, and you're still going to see him throwing the ball around. Now, if they do release it as a grade 2, don't expect him to be throwing the ball downfield too much. Which is another reason why they might just not even say it's a grade 2. They might just say grade 1 for the hell of it. They don't have to, completely tell you everything that's wrong. They just have to say he has an AC joint sprain.
I've seen that he's listed as probable early, but I'm still very worried about it. And Antonio Brown's listed as probable as well. D'Angelo Williams, it looks like he's going to come back. So they may have their full team out there outside of Le'Veon Bell, obviously, but they may have their best players out there, or they could have a lot of garbage out there next week. We don't know. But let's not forget to talk about this last drive that Big Ben did drive him down the field. I know he didn't go downfield too much, but they were in a 4th and 3 situation. Let's not forget.
12-yard pass to Brown.
Yeah, Antonio Brown coming up with a big catch after that, and then that's when Cincinnati really fell apart, because right after that, Antonio Brown had that play over the middle where Big Ben overthrew him, and perfect damn near took his head off. We really thought he was dead for a minute. And I seen an article that was saying that we did not even see the half of it by watching the game on TV. The fans out there were completely ridiculous. They were all throwing things out there. A couple people were saying that they heard fans scream, "I hope Antonio Brown's dead."
Tom Jackson said it on ESPN. I heard him say it.
Yeah, so it's just ridiculous. And I mean, I went to a game there before in the playoffs, and they really, I mean, these fans are, I didn't hold a grudge against them the last time around, because they were just messing with us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some fans, whatever. I don't care about that. But when you start taking it to the players on the field, start throwing stuff at the players.
From like the third tier, too. You're not even hitting the players now. You're blasting other fans down there. You're throwing full water bottles.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Cincinnati, I'm not saying all you, but most of you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, you can't put every Cincinnati fan in there.
That's why I said all of them.
Listen, I'm sure all 60,000 of them are
well, listen, I'm
assholes.
sure there were some there that were trying to get people to calm down a little bit, or not partaking in
Well, those
some of
ones were
this.
crying. Didn't you see them?
Yeah,
the lady crying has been an internet sensation. Everybody
did see
loves
that.
that chick. They're cutting her face out and putting it on everything.
They should put Adam Jones crying as well.
Oh, they did. He's up there.
Very nice. So
Good
who's
old Facebook.
who's your offensive player in the game here?
Big Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I know the running backs looked the best in this game from start to finish.
Yeah, his stats weren't there, but just that last drive with his shoulder being blasted, coming in and giving it what he gave it. Everybody coming into these playoffs the last couple of weeks, especially the B squad here in Pittsburgh, they were questioning Big Ben. I mean, we even asked the question, is he still a big game quarterback? The answer is yes.
Let's not forget, we didn't even mention the Martavis Bryant touchdown catch. He told Bryant before this week he needs to step his game up and make a play. And Martavis Bryant made one of the greatest catches in NFL history, in my opinion. Now, my favorite catch is still that David Tyree catch where he pinned it against his helmet when the Giants were down to nothing. It was that play or lose the Super Bowl, and they came up and made that play and went on to win the Super Bowl. But this catch, I mean, it was ridiculous. He did the flip because that was the only way he was going to be able to catch that ball, because it was pinned somehow under his leg.
Hamstring.
Yeah, it was one of the greatest catches ever. Now, it may not even, I don't know. When I first seen it, I was like, the ball was probably moving. It's not a catch, but hey, they ruled it a catch. That's a catch. And that's one of the greatest catches in NFL history. I'm sorry.
Did he do enough? Was that enough in that game?
Absolutely. I mean, I said before the game,
another big play
two catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. That's fine. He didn't have that. I think he had 3 catches, less than 20 yards or something.
He had a long rush, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a 44-yard run on an end around, and that really helped out as well. Set them up for one of their field goals, actually.
Boswell, player of the game.
Oh, no, Bryant had 5 for 29 in the passing game.
Youngblood Boswell. You got to love that dude.
Boswell's a beast as well.
Dude, Blair Walsh missed a 27. Yeah. Boswell, what was that final kick he had? 31, 32 yards, the game winner?
Yeah, it was a short one, but
it was longer than what Blair missed. Blair Walsh missed.
That was Big Ben's fourth quarter comeback in the playoffs.
Boswell.
Yeah, so he came up in a big game this time around. We'll have to see if he can keep it going, though.
Well, Boswell is definitely the special teams player of the game. So who's defensive player of the game?
Ryan Shazier.
Yeah.
Please believe. 13 tackles, 9 solo, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles.
Concussed Bernard and knocked him out of the game.
Yeah, but
everybody calls
something.
Ryan Shazier injury prone. He's out there hitting people hard, making things happen. I never questioned Ryan Shazier personally. I always thought that he'd end up being a good player, and I think he's really shown what he can do now.
Yeah, and I really don't think he meant to put his head down and hurt Giovanni Bernard.
I mean, Gio kind of lowered his head too. It's almost instinct when you're a football player.
I don't know if he lowered his head. His head was still up, but he turned around. I mean,
I'm not saying he lowered his head to try to ram him with it, Gio. I don't think either of them lowered their head to ram it. But your head just, you look down. You kind of try to get small when you're a running back and somebody's about to hit you. That's what you're taught. So just by trying to bend at the waist even. You bring your head down. So it's such a fine line. It's so hard for players in that type of instance to not hit helmet to helmet. It wasn't like the perfect hit where he just blatantly came in. And now Mike Mitchell does it to people too. He just is terrible at tackling and totally misses half the time. So I'm not excusing the Steelers of ever, hitting people dirty, because Mike Mitchell tries constantly.
Like Marvin Lewis after the game coming out and saying, it's sad that Burfict gets that penalty called against him when Shazier didn't get the one later in the game. He didn't mention him by name, but he said it's sad that one gets called and the other one doesn't. Well, they're two totally different things, first of all. Ryan Shazier, it should have been flagged. He's right about that.
Yeah.
But, it's two totally different things. Ryan Shazier had no intention while Burfict was trying to murder someone.
Yeah. And Lewis knows that, so for him to say that is absolute, utter ridiculous, and it's gauche.
If the Steelers can win at Denver, would you rather go to Kansas City or New England?
Kansas City.
They're not going to win at Denver.
There it is. We don't even need to do the preview show.
They're so beat up, dude. Come on, they shouldn't even have beat the
Denver's
Bengals.
starting
and now
a quarterback
so beat up.
who hasn't thrown a pass since like week 5 or week 6 in the NFL, and when he did, he threw so many interceptions. He still led the league in interceptions.
Peyton Manning, yeah, but Mike Mitchell ain't gonna do nothing to Peyton Manning.
Oh, Peyton Manning's arm is garbage, dude.
Well, Mike Mitchell will be running.
Well, Mike Mitchell will probably miss 10 tackles. I'm not saying he's not, but Peyton Manning is just garbage. And the Steelers already proved they could beat Denver. I don't think going to Denver really... It gives Denver an advantage, don't get me wrong, but the Steelers thrive in that underdog role, and they actually sometimes fold when they're supposed to win at home. Yeah. They're 4-1 on the road in wild card rounds. Big Ben's 11-5 in the playoffs. He's already won at Denver once, remember? He went and rolled Denver when they were the number 1 or 2 seed.
But he's just beat up.
He's going to will it out, man. I think I'm not saying we're Super Bowl bound or whatever, but I still believe that we can win at Denver.
Yeah, I think the line should be closer than what it is right now. It's at -6, -7,
it would be around
something
3.
like that.
I can't believe it's 6 or 7. The Steelers are favored to beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati, but then we're huge underdogs.
Yeah, because you have no quarterback, no Antonio Brown, and no running backs.
Ben will be there, Brown will be there,
your whole offense is beat.
Williams might not be
there. Yeah, they'll all be there, and
what does Denver have, man?
They'll see birds flying around their heads, too.
What does Denver have that's so scary on offense? Nothing. Their offense has nothing. They have Demaryius Thomas, but nobody to get him the football.
And, well, I believe they're more capable on offense than A.J. McCarron in the Bengals, and the Bengals had enough offense to basically wrap us up in that game, so... Broncos' offense is better than the Bengals' offense.
Steelers-Bengals is a different game. It's a division game. Steelers-Denver... It's totally different.
In the end, it was a bad weathered game, a lot of rain, and
when Cincinnati had the ball, don't forget.
I thought that would favor Cincinnati because they have that beast running back combo, but it turns out the beast running back combo was Toussaint and Todman, and they got it done out there, and Big Ben, in the end, getting it done like we know he could.
Defense, getting turnovers. Needed it. Well, fans, let's keep our fingers crossed for next week. Keep your eye out for the preview show coming up in a couple days. You can hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. I posted Pac-Man Jones tirade on there. I put Snoop Dogg's little happy message on there. Keep coming back to youtube.com/betthespread and keep clicking subscribe. Here we go, Steelers.